The Letters by Martin Kelly, with thanks to Carol Hambleton. The T-heads and Y-men played football. They played it like they were possessed. They never did stop for the half-time. They were fully and totally obsessed. If you'd asked them the colour of lemons, they'd have shrugged and kept kicking the ball. If you'd offered them rubies and diamonds, they'd have laughed at just nothing at all. For the T-heads were marvellous dribblers, and the Y-men, it's true, if it's all the same to you, had eyes at the ends of their arms. They played footy while children were sleeping, and the moon looked down on their running, and their tackling and shoving and leaping, sure they were athletic and cunning. If it rained for hours and hours, it's no lie they'd get downcast and glum, but if it was drizzle and showers, they'd keep at it until it was done. For the T-heads were marvellous dribblers, and the Y-men, it's true, if it's all the same to you, had eyes at the end of each arm. Now it turned out that Tuesday was yellow, and Wednesday lay down on a couch, so you can imagine the mood was quite mellow, though Saturday kept saying, ouch. You play the same team every weekday, you get bored and your game goes to pot, so the T-heads stuck up some flyers saying, other letters, come show us just what you've got. For the T-heads were excellent wordsmiths, and the Y-men, it's told, to the young and the old, at the end of each arm. Who'd have thunk it that there were M-lads, guest ex-girls played as a team, that A-women fought like the Gabnabs, and P-peeps were not part of a dream. So it was, by the end of the weekend, that a league had been properly set up, with referees, rules and regulations, and each team had a colourful get-up. Because the T-heads were organisators, and the Y-men, I've heard, though it does sound absurd, had eyes at the end of each arm. The news got around and about some, like the news will invariably do. Then other letters said, all right, son, we'll be having a bit of that too. The H kids and P's were the first ones, followed closely by the K's and the N's. The R's wanted special themed ringtones, while the Y's broke the rules yet again. For the T-heads knew fame was glissando, while the Y-men, you'll find, were quite one of a kind, having eyes at the end of each arm. Now, if you've ever had the occasion to put on an event or two, you'll know that tempers have risen when football has come to the do. And it's not a surprise or a weird thing if you play footy at night in the park. Well, the fans who shout, chant and then sing want a football that glows eye in the dark. Well, the T-heads, they were not scientists, and the Y-men, it's true, did not have a clue, though they had eyes at the ends of their arms. They decided to draw up a mind map on a white board with indelible pens. Steal the moon, that was the first thought. The M-lads said, let's breed glowing hens. Not nuclear, asked the K-lasses, but the Y's put the kibosh on that. The N-lads cried, let's mix up some gases, but the F's said, that's just old hat. Well, the T-heads were getting frustrated as the Y-men, yet again, chilled out with the Zen, saw their world from the ends of their arms. The N-bods talked of renewables, while the H-kids suggested hot coals. Then the R sons and daughters made remarks on the chances of scoring own goals. The whiteboard displayed all these options. It was a work of modernist art. Most of it was daft and then some. At least they'd made some sort of a start. The T-heads had their own notions, though the Y-men were sure that less wasn't more, as they gazed from the ends of those arms. With no consensus in sight, near the end of the night, as dawn's cold early light came a-creeping, they had covered the board, candles, glowworms, a horde of impractical gibberish not worth repeating. The T-heads looked around, mumbled twixt lip and cup, and what's down is not up, then walked out to a deafening silence. The Y-men saw defeat as worse than red meat, and Tai Chi's in a sheet as a form of defiance. So the T-heads, philosophers not really, plus the Y-men, you guessed, were getting distressed, seeing the world from the end of each arm. Luckily, as fate would have it, in a factory just down the road, a paint maker called Joe was rejoicing because she'd invented something that glowed. Days later, 'twas all over the webnet, a paint that shone bright in the dark, So the letters brought up a shed load, dipped their balls, and then played in the park. So nowadays you'll find, if you listen, at night when the wind has died down, the K, P's, M's and all of them letters kicking their footballs all around the town. The end.